Hey crafty friends, I'm back and showing you another card using this Bushel and Peck pattern paper, the Happily Ever After die or stamp set, and this cute little basket die cut I got. So I have my regular A2 size card and I have my spiced ink pad, and I'm just going to drag it down this scrap paper I have. It's just beautiful brown, perfect for the upcoming fall, and I'm going to cut out this adorable little basket with it. I actually like the lighter brown area, but I might cut both sides out just to make sure and see which one I'd like to use. That looks really cool. I like that. Okay, and then I'm also going to cut out the darker part here just to give myself options. And while I have my die cutting machine out, why not? So that cuts really nice and looks really good, and those look completely different actually. So that's cool to have two different options here. And now I'm just looking at the front of my card and seeing where I want to put this basket. I have this cute Full of Joy stamp and die cut, and these apples that I made for a previous card you can check out also on my YouTube. And I really want to use it for this card. I think that like the Full of Joy kind of goes with the apples being full in the basket. I don't know, something like that. So now I decided with my background, it's a little blank, so I'm going to just do some ink blending here. And I'm taping off with some washi, and I'm going to start with my wintergreen, or actually the Deck the Halls, which is a nice dark green. I kind of want to give the illusion that, you know, we're in a field, and this is like the grass part, and yeah, that looks cool with the basket. So now I'm going to do the lighter color here with my wintergreen. I really love the wintergreen color. It's a lot paler, but once it's on, it's just such a beautiful light green color that I just really like. And now I'm taking my paintbrush with a little bit of water here and just splattering my paper, and you can kind of see what a cool effect that adds. Like right before your eyes, you can see it happening. So that looks cool. I'm just taking my washi off so you can see that, and that looks sweet. So I just wanted to add a little bit more texture to the grassy part, I guess, of my card. So now I'm going to move on. I have my Whipped Honey. I'm starting with a lighter yellow, and this is kind of going to be like my sky. I want it to be yellow and orangish, so I'm just going to do a couple different colors here, just doing a couple different layers. Now I have my shea butter, just trying to add the different dimensions, and I'm actually okay with the lines being there. You definitely can continue to blend so that the lines don't show up as much, but I actually didn't mind it at all. And now I have this beautiful, the darker color here, which is so pretty. I just love this. This is the sauna color, and so I'm doing a lot more inking in that right corner there to kind of give the illusion that the sun was shining in the corner and coming through. So now I have my background done. I think that looks kind of cool. And there's my Full of Joy, which looks great against that yellow orangish background. And so now I'm just kind of placing my basket and my apples just to see where I'd like them. And I noticed that I got a little more ink on the edge here than I'd like. So I'm just dabbing it with a little bit of water and my finger to dilute the color, and then blending a little bit on there. And it definitely helped to kind of take away the edge of that. I just got like a mark of ink on there. So now I'm just using some cherry dots here onto my Full of Joy stamp, and I did that on some craft paper with white embossing powder. So that turned out really cool. And now I'm adding some pop dots to my basket here, because I definitely want it to be a little bit 3D so I can stick some of the apples inside the basket and kind of look like they're overflowing. And I decided to actually do a couple more apples because I felt like 3 wasn't quite enough. So I have my pretty red Samba color here, and I already die cut out the apples. I found that when I die cut them first and then apply the ink, I do a lot better with the placement of it. So here I didn't really like how my red came out. I wanted it to be, it was just the way I was stamping it. I was just a little nervous. So now, there we go. That looks good. It's a little off center, so I might try it again. That one looks good. I like that. But I did like stamping it after I die cut it, because I can kind of control where exactly I was you know, putting the stem and leaves. And so this is a really fun stamp and die set. You can coordinate and make all these different really cute designs and colors. And this one I'm doing like a green apple, which I thought was fun. And so now I'm just going to go through with my brown, my spiced color here, and do the stems. And I like those. It's so cute. They just turned out really, really cute, this apple, the apple stamps. I just really enjoyed creating those. And so here now I'm just going to stamp on my leaves with the Deck the Halls, the darker green, so you can see them different from the actual wintergreen color. And just kind of eyeballing it here. It's definitely not perfect, but it's a lot of fun, and I don't think it needs to be perfect, really. So now I think I want to work on the inside of my card. So I just love these fonts, and I love these sayings, so I decided to use this cute small saying, and "You're a blessing." It's so sweet, and put that on the inside of my card. And I figured I would do this with some colored ink. And so this is me testing the Deck the Halls on a scrap piece of paper before I put it on my card. If you're ever unsure of a color, I would just suggest doing that first just to make sure you like it. That looks awesome. It's such a really pretty bold green color, and it just looks great. So now I'm gonna ink blend a little bit of the wintergreen onto the back of my card. I just wanted to add a little more color. I did want to keep the inside of this card a little simpler, but I like that. I feel like that looks really pretty, and it goes with my inky theme, so that looks great. So now I'm going to start. I'm actually going to go to the right side of my card now. I always make an insert for my inside of my cards where I have some sort of white paper. Of course, you could just leave it as it is, but I enjoy using pattern paper and then adding some white paper on there just to give it a little differentiation. That's a big word. Anyway, just to make it look a little more unique, right? So we have the pattern paper. Now I'm going to trim down some white paper so it's not just like a plain white background for the card. And so I'm cutting this down, and I'm actually going to trim it a little bit more because I do want to see more of that basket weave pattern. I chose that pattern paper because I felt like it went with the basket theme that I was kind of going for. And I just am adhering this down with cherry tape. That looks great. I love that. So that way somebody can write all their sentiments there. So now that the inside of my card's done, I want to work on the outside. I did that first because I wanted to stamp my sentiment in, and this way my 3D dimensionals that I want to do won't get in the way of that. So now I'm tucking a couple of my apples inside the basket. I think this is just so cute. That one looks good there, and I love this pink one, so I'm going to do that one next. I'm going to glue these down. That looks great. So they're just kind of popping out of the basket, and now I'm going to use some cherry dots for a little bit more dimension for these last 3 apples. And I also want to be sure to get my sentiment here to make sure that it all looks good together. So just kind of eyeballing it, making sure I like the placement of the apples with the sentiment, making sure there's enough room for them. And that looks good. So here's my sentiment. I'm going to put that down. That's so cute. Oh, I love that. Okay, so now I decided I'm going to add some sequins. Oops, my glue just exploded on me, so I took that off. You can always test your glue on some scrap paper. I like showing these things in my videos because nothing ever goes perfect. I could have definitely edited that out, but I just wanted to show you, like, you can just wipe it up and do it again. It's not a big deal. I have these pretty gold sequins from Sizzix, and I also grabbed my other sequins from my stash from Catherine Pooler, the blue ones, but there's these really pretty medium-sized different type of gold, so I love that. Ooh, so pretty. So I'm now realizing that this is my apple card and I didn't use my apple stamp for the inside. So this is another mistake I made, I felt like, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna show this in the video. I want you guys to know it's okay and it's definitely fixable. So I did the same thing here. I used that dark green. It looks really pretty. And I'm just going to trim down my sentiment. So now, instead of having it directly on the card like I wanted, which is totally fine, I'm going to do it on a separate piece of paper, and I'm just going to glue it over my sentiment that I had in there. So And I actually saw too my basket in the front here. I left it open so I could fit those apples in, but now I'm gonna put a little dot in there, a little 3D one, to help keep it from standing up so it doesn't sink down in the middle. So that looks good. So this saying, I think, just goes better, obviously, with all the apples in the basket. It says, couldn't have picked a sweeter friend. So I'm just going to take my wintergreen and ink the background of this just to go with the inking of the inside of my card. And I think that looks really cute. I'm just literally going to cover that up. I love that "You're a Blessing." I thought that was so cute and turned out great. And I could have kept it, but I really wanted to stick with my apple theme. So I just put those on some cherry dots. And that looks good. You know, it looks like I did that on purpose. Like, I wanted that to have a little bit of dimension, and it doesn't look bad or anything. You can't, it's not like you can see the sentiment underneath. So now I'm going to add a couple more of these blue sequins that I just love all around the inside of my card. Add a little bit more sparkle and shine, a little bit of color, since it is simpler. And really, that's it. Yeah, so look at this really pretty card with that ink blended background, and then the inside with the basket theme. And there you go. Thanks for watching, guys.